There are over 32 million small businesses in the United States. Of those 32 million, 20% fail in the first year. After 5 years, 50% fail. By 10 years, only 30% of those businesses are still running. We are a part of those statistics. And here's why. Welcome back to Skeesh. Today we are going over why exactly our brand Mikan failed. So we started Mikan in 2020 because we had always wanted to start a business, specifically a clothing brand. Originally we did try fitness, but that never really got off the ground or anywhere for that matter. So we turned our attention to anime as it was the biggest occupying force for the both of us at the time. We officially launched the brand October 31st, 2020 on Halloween. After starting a little bit, we lost our Instagram account, which we had about 1,000 followers on. So that was kind of a huge hit to us. We eventually had to start over from scratch, build a whole new Instagram account and recreate that following that we had on that. So we got our first designs. We decided to start doing some conventions. We did pretty well at them. We made our money back, but it was never enough to cover the cost of everything. We were always inconsistent when it came to branding the brand. Go hard on Instagram and then we would stop for a little bit. We'd go hard on running ads and then stop for a little bit. Due to a lack of direction and a business plan, I think we also hit a wall. Our designs were kind of all over the place. They never really matched what Mikan was. They were just anime inspired, and that's not really what we wanted the brand to be. And so that lack of direction led us into the downfall of the brand itself, I would say. With a lack of direction, we or nobody else had anything to really latch onto to identify the brand. I think a huge portion of the downfall is the fact that we don't know how to market at all. This is a skill that some people are just generally talented at first, and others that have to learn and really work hard at. And we are the ones that really have to work hard at it, put in the time to learn it. And that's something that honestly we failed to do. We would be very active on social media and then drop off. We would have photo shoots, bucket of content, and then run out of the bucket, and then we would have nothing. The one thing that you want to do in a business is make a profit. You don't want to keep pulling from out of your pocket, and we were pulling from out of our pocket too much. With the cost of clothing, artists, all of the products we had, conventions, everything was very pricey. Now at conventions, we would cover the cost of the convention, but we didn't factor in the cost of the clothing itself. So we would cover the price of the booth, what it took to get down there, and everything else in between. But the clothing still had a price tag on it, which we never could recover from. The one thing nice about conventions is the fact that we made sales. Our online shop did miserable. Sales would be high for a little bit and then drop off, and then they'd get a little lower and drop off, and eventually they just crashed to zero. Mentally, I think it took a toll on both of us because we were saying we were running this business. We would do pretty good at conventions, actually very good. When the convention was over, it was like we didn't even have a business. There was nothing going on online to make us feel like we were doing anything. And I think mentally that took a huge toll on us and made us almost turn away from the business. Not that we didn't want to do it, but it was just so draining at the fact that there was nothing. And the difficult thing was allocating the money that we did get from conventions. We were always on this cross between, do we want to put it back into another convention booth? And we still have to restock because we have no more merchandise because we got cleaned out. We made money to cover the convention, but not the product. We would get another convention booth and we would purchase product out of our own pocket or vice versa. And it was never this equilibrium of the business sustaining itself. With every business plan comes a very big whiteboard. On this whiteboard, we have this top section up here with where we think we went wrong. Down here are things that we're going to do to improve the brand and start fresh again. So let's start from the top of what went wrong. So first off, no traffic, and that's including the website and the social medias. Social media, I'll start with, dropped to zero, pretty much. We had over 3,000 followers on our new Instagram, and the second latest post we just made got 8 likes. Second off is the website. Running ads are very hard. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. They're very, very nitpicky. You need to focus on where you want to target these ads. We would basically be throwing ad money into the wind and hoping it would hit something. That was pretty much what was going on. When we had the money to throw ads, we would throw them up and they wouldn't really do anything. They would get a couple views, drive a little bit of traffic to the website, but that was it. No sales, no conversions. Felt like we were smacking a wall with our heads. No brand identity to latch onto.
With brands comes an identity with that brand, an association that customers can make to that brand that they kind of latch onto, that they like, and there are lots of things that they see in that brand, so they want to purchase from it. We didn't have that. Like we said before, our designs were kind of all over the place. While we don't think they were necessarily bad, one version over here and then something crazy else over here. Everything was very mix-mash. We had stickers from animes that we liked, but at the same time, we wanted our brand to be self-identifying. So we had one thing over here and another over here, and you can't identify with something like that.
With brand comes a community, and that was something we failed to create. We lacked good quality content. We could make content. I would be up here making TikToks. We'd be posting stuff shot with our iPhone, but it's not good enough nowadays. And our content looked very unprofessional.
Now you would think with being an anime brand, it's easy to target your niche fan base and customers. That was really difficult and still remains to be difficult. You can't just put anime tag on an ad and expect it to take off. You really have to narrow down where you're going with it, and we failed to do that. Finding our customer base is really hard. At anime conventions, you'd think everyone there is going to gravitate towards this anime clothing brand, but they didn't. Like, we had our people that came by, and then we'd have people who like snicker at us and didn't give us a hard time, but very obviously they were not interested. So you really have to narrow down who you're searching for. Really identify the people who you think want to buy from you.
The late great Alex Hormozi says in his book, there's riches in niches, and that is very simple on the surface level, but getting to that niche is a lot more difficult to dig down to. So being a clothing brand, Anthony and I wanted to have inventory. We didn't want to rely on Alibaba shipping our stuff out and having inconsistency in our products. The next part is having inventory is a lot of work. It's expensive to hold your products. If you buy in bulk, you might be stuck with these products for a very long time and just lose money. They might eventually just become worthless. Also, getting a manufacturer is very, very difficult. What we should have done was go to trade shows, reach out to people, ask for custom designs. I think we were naive and also scared to ask for our own things when it came to talking to these bigger businesses. It was intimidating because we were small, and we still are small. You should always ask exactly what you want, because if you don't get exactly what you want, you're not gonna love it, and if you don't love it, your customer certainly is not going to even like it. So next thing I want to hit is lack of effort. A lot of people always think how hard they're working. They can say they're working, they're grinding it out, grind set, mindset, and shit like that. The reality of it is you're probably not working as hard as you think you are. And that was true for at least myself. I would come up here and I would get stuff done. I would falter, get on my phone and get distracted, play the drums or whatever. The effort just wasn't 100% all the time. And I think it's really important to be 100% full speed ahead for your business. And if you're not, you'll be sitting at a table talking to a camera about why your business failed.
Having a lack of knowledge in sales really hurt us. Now, that's not saying we couldn't learn. This falls into the lack of effort that we were putting in. We could have very easily Googled sales or just taken the time to read and find out maybe what we were doing wrong, but we never did that. So that lack of marketing knowledge played a huge factor in not being able to grow the brand. Since we couldn't market, we didn't know how to grow. We would post content that was kind of irrelevant, or some of our copy was really not great. Some of our images that we made to post and show off our products were not up to par. People need to see that what they might be buying is a quality product, and if we can't display that, they're not even gonna waste their time with it.
We weren't solving any problems, and we certainly weren't filling a gap. Our specific company was not filling a gap. You would see very specific companies that would grow and they were doing something different. They were doing something outside the box.
Where do we go from here? We have a brand that failed, and we still want to make something out of it. So what we're going to do is pretty much start the brand from the ground up. Take it back like we did in 2020, start with a logo and a direction we want the brand to go.
We're going to have a huge redesign for everything, like Anthony mentioned, logo, shirts, and just in general direction. Write a good business plan that we can follow and we can stay true to, so we make sure we hit our milestones and our goals and we're not missing any steps along the way. We want to make sure our brand correlates with everything. We want to make sure the brand is a brand that people can be like, that's a Mikan shirt, or that's a Mikan hat. Wow, that's cool. I want to be a part of that community. So that's going to be a big thing and a big challenge for us along the way, is how do we do that? You need to solve a problem or fill a gap with business. Well, obviously, a clothing brand is not solving a problem. You can get clothes anywhere. If you really need to, you can go to Goodwill. So there's no really problem to solve. Now, what about gap? What gap can we fill? What would other clothing brands be missing that we could take advantage of? That is going to be a big thing that we're going to have to learn. We're going to have to create a product, and not only a product so good, but an experience so amazing that the customer will tell other people about it. They'll feel inclined to tell other people. That's the goal, is to make other people want to share your message as a brand.
We have to get on the social media grind and stay on the social media grind. We've mentioned multiple times in this video how we would go and then stop and then go and then stop. What we need to do is go, don't let off the gas, and just keep going. It's not hard to get on our phones every day and go under a hashtag associated with something we kind of vibe with, engage with people. It's not a hard task. We just weren't disciplined enough to do that.
I think a huge thing we also liked was communication. Being as we are brothers and we live in the same household, you'd think it'd be very easy to communicate, but sometimes that's just not the case. Especially when there's a problem, you don't want to communicate. So on top of needing to communicate, we're gonna have to grow over that hurdle of being like, well, maybe this will cause a problem. Maybe we can just push it aside for now. Communication is the key. That's gonna be what builds the brand, because without us on the same page, the brand isn't gonna go anywhere.
That kind of falls into the reaching out for help. I know a lot of people are nervous about that, or they don't want to. One of the most important skills you can have is reaching out for help. If I'm struggling with something like, I don't know what to do with this design, I don't know where to take it, that prolongs that issue to when we never get that design done. But if I just reach out and say, hey, here's what I have, Alex, what do you think I can do with this? 2024 is going to be a big year for Mikan. You heard it here first, and I'm gonna hold true to that. I'm gonna hold true to that.
You heard it both from us. It's going to be a life-changing event for the brand and for us. Make sure to subscribe, hit the bell button.
If you want to start your own brand and you don't know where to start, you have two people you can ask right here. We love answering questions and we love engaging with people. So if you have any questions or you just want to chat, hit us up on any of our social medias, comment, and do whatever.
We have the experience of failing very miserably, so you can hopefully avoid that. Though we're not successful, we have the experience of failures on our side and not be the person sitting at this table talking about why you failed.
It's not very fun.
No, it's not. I'd rather talk about success. But here we are. Gotta do it anyway.